Question: what is tall, white, pointy, and iconic? The answer? It's a three-way tie. The Washington Monument, Nancy Sinatra's boots, and Michael Myers holding a kitchen knife. It's hard to believe it, but he's been stabbing teenagers and terrifying audiences for over 40 years now.
Here comes. Wait, here comes another.
With his towering, ominous presence, complete with a grimy gas station coverall and creepy mask, Michael Myers is the epitome of the cinematic boogeyman.
He's gonna get you! He's gonna get you! He's gonna get you! He's gonna get you!
He's the OG. Nobody else comes close. You hear me, Freddy?
What's with kids today, huh? No respect.
He's as popular as he's ever been, with an enduring franchise that refuses to die. Yo, I'm Alejandro with Hollywood Vulture. This is the good, the bad, the underrated. Today we'll be taking a deep dive into the Halloween series, with a keeper, a stinker, and a sleeper. Welcome to Haddonfield, Illinois. It's a quiet suburban town with picturesque Victorian houses, fun little shops, and plenty of Midwest charm. However, I would advise planning a vacation around October 31st. Preferably to another continent.
Michael Myers.
Okay, Haddonfield, Illinois doesn't actually exist. The filming of Halloween took place in East Pasadena.
The Myers house.
The Myers house.
Here I am at the real Myers house. Selfie.
Every kid in Haddonfield thinks this place is haunted.
Director John Carpenter shot the movie to look like Anywhere, Illinois, cutting out as much Southern California as possible. The fictional Haddonfield is home to Michael Myers in over 10 installments of the franchise. The Halloween movies vary from great to
Sucky.
Let's dive right in.
We're all afraid of the same things, of death, pain, injury, all of it is the same, which makes a movie that deals in our fears universal.
Simply put, the original Halloween is a masterpiece. Not only is it a great horror film, but it's a great film, period. It features a memorable big screen debut from Jamie Lee Curtis, and a virtuoso performance from veteran actor Donald Pleasance. There are at least 3 household character names.
Michael?
Pardon me, I'm Loomis, Dr. Sam Loomis.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Laurie.
Mr. Brackett, I'm sorry, Mr. Brackett. Laurie Strode remains the only part that really gave me a well-rounded part to play. Somebody with a complete history that you really got a sense of.
I'm gonna take a little walk.
What is it, the boogeyman? I'm scared.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Halloween. The night he came home.
The plot is simple.
Halloween night. A small American town.
We first meet Michael as a kid on Halloween night in 1963. He murders his older sister with a kitchen knife in an opening sequence that blends pieces of other classic films like Psycho and Touch of Evil, with its own brutal originality through the use of first-person perspective.
The opening shot of the picture took an entire day to film. It's actually 2 shots. We set up so that we would start in the front of the house and we would actually go all the way through, creep in the window, see them kissing, go through the back of the house, open up the drawer, pick out the knife, and by the way, those are my hands. and then we would go in through the living room and up the steps and into the bedroom.
Michael is sent away to a sanitarium across the state. Over a decade goes by without incident. His psychiatrist, Sam Loomis, is the only person who knows the extent of his patient's danger to society.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Loomis and his colleague, Marion the smoking nurse, are ordered to escort Michael to court.
You ever done anything like this before?
Only minimum security.
But he attacks them and escapes. He takes their car and heads straight to hometown Haddonfield, where he promptly kills a mechanic for his jumpsuit and steals various items from a hardware store.
Well, now all they took was some Halloween mask, rope, and a couple of knives.
Thus ends the backstory and begins the main story of a masked madman on the prowl who unleashes terror on a small group of teenagers.
This has not been my night.
The simplicity of the premise is what attracted financier Moustapha Akkad to the project, which was originally titled The Babysitter Murders. He loved recounting his initial reaction in a well-worn story.
John Carpenter came to me with a script. What's the story about? He said about a babysitter to be killed by the Boogeyman.
Not the Boogeyman that attracted me, the babysitter. Because every kid in America knows what a babysitter is. They can relate to a babysitter.
We're babysitters.
They could relate, they could identify.
Of course.
The Boogeyman is fixated on one babysitter in particular.
Lori,
Ma'am?
answer the question.
She tries to go about her day normally.
Well, kiddo, I thought you outgrew superstition.
The dialogue between Lori and her friends is charmingly corny and lightweight.
I'll be totally wiped out.
I don't think you have enough to do tomorrow.
Totally.
It's like totally how teenagers in the 70s talked.
Totally.
The date is October 31st, 1978.
Speed kills!
Exactly 15 years to the day that Michael Myers murdered his sister.
Oh, look.
He came home.
Setting the action on Halloween was the idea of producer Irwin Yablans. He also ingeniously came up with the title and was the one who hired up-and-coming director John Carpenter.
And I called John from my bedside, I'll never forget it. And I told him the story. I said, John, I want to make a movie about a babysitter, and I want to make it in one night, and I want to call it Halloween. He got it right away.
Black cats and goblins on Halloween night. Trick or treat!
Carpenter was given total creative control.
Hey, now that's wonderful.
He composed the influential score himself and wrote the screenplay with Deborah Hill.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
We went to a list of scares. You know, like imagine if, you know, you're in bed with your boyfriend and he goes down to get some water or Coke or something and comes back with a sheet trying to pretend he's a ghost, but it's not him. It's all these kinds of things that we wrote down, all these scares, and then we decided to weave the scares into the story.
I wanted the audience not to know whether he was human or supernatural. And he had no character. He was blank. He was simply evil.
What about the Boogeyman?
There's no such thing.
When it came to bringing the main antagonist to life, there were two important elements that had to come together. Number one, his look. And number two, his presence.
I'll kill you if this is a joke.
Nick Castle, a friend of Carpenter's from college, ended up being cast as the adult Michael Myers.
I remember I'm about to walk across the street in the first shot, and I realize he has not told me anything about what I'm supposed to do as this character. So I came up to him and basically asked him, what's my motivation? You know, as the shape, walking across. How do you want me to walk? You know, how do you want me to, am I supposed to be this or that? And he said, Nick, just walk.
I think he really gave the movie something. I think there's little moments that he does in the movie that are really special. At one point, he tips his head and kind of looks at his handiwork.
In the script, Michael's referred to only as the shape, fading in and out of the shadows as he stalks his victims.
Most definitely stop being funny, now cut it out!
The movie's defining final act is a relentless battle between Laurie and the shape. Now the chase is on, and what follows is a series of classic moments.
I remember this famous screening where I got to sit outside and listen to the audience scream at Halloween.
Get him!
It was like a symphony. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. They screamed in all the places I wanted them to scream.
Don't drop the knife, you asshole!
Everybody's having a good time tonight.
Halloween stands alone, and it holds up as strongly as ever to this day. It's a masterclass in low-budget filmmaking. Dr. Loomis is nearby as Laurie is yet again attacked by an ever-determined Michael Myers. He saves her life by shooting him 6 times. After which Laurie utters the famous line,
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
His action is he runs in, he shoots the shape, blows him out of a window. On the set, I was shooting his reaction. So he says, I can play this. What do you want me to do? I can play this 2 ways. Oh my God, he's gone. Or, I knew this would happen. Clearly, he knew what he should have done. He knew how he should have played it ahead of time. It was I knew this would happen. He left the decision in my hands, which is the mark of a great actor.
As you watch the screen, your heart begins to beat faster. You tell yourself, it's only a movie.
It's only a movie.
But sooner or later, it's time to go home.
It's only a movie. A movie that scared the hell out of me when I first saw it as a kid. All it took was that creepy white mask and this.
A really big, sharp kitchen knife.
Unlike Michael Myers, though, I'm using my knife to carve a pumpkin. The original Halloween haunted my dreams for years, and it solidified my love of horror movies. The next entry on the list is terrifying in a different way.
All right, you guys, what's next?
My idea was that we should never make a sequel to the original Halloween. No story left. There was nothing left to say. Boy, was I wrong, huh?
Michael Myers has been put through the ringer throughout the series. As Moustapha Akkad noted in an interview, in every script they want to kill him, they want to destroy him. I tell them, wait a minute, I love this guy. He's right. Producers and writers go back and forth with this idea.
I killed him.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
First, Michael was shot multiple times at close range with a Smith & Wesson revolver, before simply walking away. Then, in the sequel, he was burnt to a crisp in a fiery explosion. More on Halloween 2 later. Well, that firewalk was hastily explained away in Part 4.
But his doctor, of all people, shot him 6 times. Then he set him on fire. Both of them nearly burned to death. Just thinking about it gives me the willies.
At the end of that movie, Michael was shot into a grave and blown up with dynamite. But at the beginning of part 5, it's revealed that he narrowly escaped the explosion and sailed away down the river. By the 7th entry in 1998, the explanation for his survival was cryptic.
Michael Myers.
Right. Hey, you don't think Michael Myers?
I never found his body.
Yeah, but that was like 20 years ago.
But this time around, it being Michael Myers' 20th anniversary and all, producers decided to hype it up and have Jamie Lee Curtis return as Laurie Strode to destroy him once and for all. Only difficulty is that Moustapha Akkad had a contract clause that stated Michael Myers could never be killed off. This brings us to the most ridiculous backtracking of a movie ending that I've ever seen. Halloween Resurrection opens up with the revelation that Michael is still alive.
They didn't tell you about Laurie Strode?
No.
A flashback shows that Michael had attacked a paramedic, crushed his throat, and swapped outfits with him. So whoops.
She killed the wrong person.
As a result, Laurie is locked up in a sanitarium, spending her time staring out the window.
She hasn't said a word in years. Extreme dissociative disorder. God knows what she sees out there.
Years go by as she waits for Michael's inevitable return. When he finally pays her a visit, she's ready. A battle ensues, and Laurie gets him right where she wants him.
Hello, Michael.
What took you so long? I knew there was going to be a meeting with these two people, and I knew that she was going to say something to him.
Are you afraid to die, Michael?
And so what I asked them to do was make sure that what she said was, I am not afraid of you. So ultimately, your boogeyman thing has failed.
But apparently, she hasn't lived through enough horror movies to know the cliches to avoid.
I just have to be sure.
The two have one last exchange and share one cold smooch.
I'll see you in hell.
Just like that, Laurie Strode is killed off, taking the last remnant of dignity from the franchise with her.
I certainly have moved on from these movies, but I am trying to give my all in this last sequence to just make sure that I send her off with a little bit of poetry.
It's ridiculous.
Remember, poetry is subjective.
Michael Myers has been missing, unheard of last 3 years. Now he's back.
Nobody expected Halloween number 8 to be good, but wowee. Whereas the series once set the tone with a stylish, spooky credit sequence, this one skips that entirely with a cruddy title graphic right out of Windows Movie Maker 2000. The story jumps to a year later, and we meet a group of generic college students, including a Laurie Strode ripoff named Sarah.
Jung said we must face down our fears and face up to the figure he called
the Shadow.
This was the era of the reality show boom and beginnings of social media.
Whatever.
To capitalize on this concept, the plot centers on a competition called Dangertainment.
We're in. They picked all 3 of us.
What? Are you serious?
That will be broadcast live on the internet, or the World Wide Web as they said in those days.
We're gonna be bigger than the Osbournes. We're gonna be large.
Look, every time I let you two talk me into something, I live to regret it.
All they have to do is spend the night in Michael Myers' childhood home on Halloween.
Don't do it.
That's the house where it all started.
The reality show is masterminded by a conniving production team, played by Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks, in performances that can only be described as, well,
a mystery wrapped up inside of a riddle, inside of an enigma.
We are doing our thing.
Okay? It's Dangertainment.
They're taking advantage of this reality TV fascination that we as a culture have, and obviously have put a sinister coating over that, and it's very effective.
I'm interested in how Michael Myers embodies the politics of violence embedded in pop mythology.
He is the great white shark of our unconscious. I bring you.
Hey, that girl can sing. On one hand, it's serious stuff. I mean, people are dying, but on the other hand, it's a horror movie. It's Halloween, so I mean, all we do is laugh.
Let the Dangertainment begin now.
Well, people, let's do it.
The house guests separate into groups, as is customary in these kinds of movies.
Yeah, we should poke around a bit. See what else we can find.
You watch.
And are terrorized throughout the evening. Later on, however, they realize they have been set up and that everything is fake.
Made in fucking Taiwan.
Including Michael Myers, who turns out to be Busta Rhymes.
I'm only trying to give America a good show.
Oh, but then the real Michael Myers shows up, and things get cray. Z.
I said, what you looking at me like that for? Huh? You don't get it? You don't get it? Your shit ain't working up there or something?
Watching all this unfold from a computer is Sarah's cyber pal, who goes by the name of Deckard.
There she is.
Sexy girl.
It's kind of like we're dating. She's never even seen you, and Yahoo chat rooms do not count.
Deckard springs into action by sending Sarah helpful survival tips.
He's killing us. There he is. Over here. Oh my god, zoom in. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen the Halloween films. It catches you and your stomach just like drops, and it's really, I mean, there's not a lot of acting involved.
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Want a piece of me?
Hard to believe Resurrection was directed by Rick Rosenthal, the same guy who helmed Halloween 2, which is like The Godfather Part 2 compared to this.
You broke my heart.
It's pretty strange to go back to a genre I haven't visited for 20 years, because I did Halloween 2 and then I never did another horror film.
Yeah, perhaps horror isn't his strong suit anymore.
How'd you do that?
Michael Myers eventually finds Sarah, but she is saved by Busta Rhymes.
Let's see what you got.
As far as classic quotes go, the first movie had, "What's the Boogeyman?" And this one has,
"Trick or treat, motherfucker." I'm a fan of this movie, and particularly just because, you know, out of the Freddy Kruegers and the Draculas and all of them, I mean, Michael Myers was just the one that never had nothing to say. He just bust your ass, you know what I'm saying?
The movie delivers yet another final jump scare that hints at a sequel.
You've got to be kidding me.
But Resurrection was so awful that it led to not one, but 2 reboots.
Trick or treat.
What's your next move?
My next move is to get out of show business. I'm gonna get out of show business after this movie. Bye.
Trick or Treat? Really? Critics called Rob Zombie's 2007 reboot lousy, unscary, and tediously slow. That's still an improvement over Resurrection. The last entry on the list is a movie that has long needed defending.
Help me!
And so, I'm going to defend it. After Halloween became a huge financial and critical hit in the late 70s, the slasher movie clones came fast and furiously, including a couple starring Jamie Lee Curtis herself.
Terror Train.
Producer Irwin Yablans noticed this trend and decided it was time to cash in with an official sequel.
I shot him in the heart. He's not human.
Universal Pictures presents Halloween 2. More of the night he came home.
Although reluctant to return at first, John Carpenter came on board as a writer and producer, leaving the directing duty to up-and-comer Rick Rosenthal. More than 2 decades before, he oversaw the mess of Resurrection.
Michael Myers is a killer shark.
The original offer to direct went to Tommy Lee Wallace, the production designer for the first Halloween, but he declined and, for better or worse, held out for Part 3, which was a big box office flop and stands as the only entry in the series, sans Michael Myers. Carpenter, who co-wrote the screenplay again with Deborah Hill, has said that he was between a rock and a hard place when it came to continuing a story that, in his mind, concluded with Part 1. So what did he do? Drank a bunch of beer and typed away. What resulted is a surprisingly serviceable follow-up with plenty to admire, despite its pressure to live up to the original.
You know, Haddonfield was a pretty quiet town before tonight.
It was kind of hard, quite frankly, to reproduce the magic of the first one.
Yet one night in 1963, Michael Myers did murder his sister in that upstairs bedroom with a large butcher knife.
Quite frankly, I was surprised that Halloween 2 came out as well as it did and that it enjoyed the success that it did.
It's his anniversary, Mr. Hunt. He came back.
Carpenter's opinion is not so charitable.
And I think Halloween 2 is an abomination and a horrible movie. I was really disappointed in it.
Geez, tell us how you really feel.
I think,
Well, Halloween 2 had a lot of cooks, a lot of chefs. I was hired to direct it, but we also had a director before me, John Carpenter, who had, because this felt like a continuation, in many ways he had a very strong opinion.
Put light down there, by those trees.
Well, there's nothing.
Well, keep going.
No sequel could ever deliver proper justice to Halloween. And if considering it a direct continuation is sacrilege, then think of it as a fever dream. Perhaps it's the kind of nightmare that Laurie would be having after the trauma of that deadly night.
Try to relax, Laurie.
However you think of it, Halloween 2 is undeniably a horror classic.
Damn you. You let him out! I didn't let him out. I gave orders for him to be restrained.
The first 10 minutes of the movie alone are pitch perfect. Mr. Sandman plays on the soundtrack as the camera pans down to an establishing shot of the infamous suburban hellhole from Part 1. The 60s pop hit is turned on its head, much like Singing in the Rain had been in A Clockwork Orange.
Mr. Sandman. Yes? I want you to go down the street to the Mackenzie's house. I want you to tell them to call the police.
I think from the very beginning, what they wanted and what I responded to was the idea that somehow Halloween 2 could follow a moment later. So it would feel, when you saw the film, that it was a continuation.
We see Dr. Loomis shoot Michael Myers off the balcony the same way as in Part 1, but are given new angles and takes. For instance, instead of peering out the doorway to discover that the shape is gone, Loomis runs downstairs, outside, and goes up close to the point of impact on the grass, feeling the warm blood on his fingers like a tenacious hunter in hot pursuit.
Call the police. Tell the sheriff I shot him.
Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
Now commences the opening credits, with an amped-up variation of Carpenter's score and all the familiar names. The jack-o'-lantern is back, but this time ends with a cherry on top. Inside sits the face of a skeleton. We zoom into the blackness of the skeletal eye, which morphs into a POV shot of Michael Myers roaming the neighborhood. Quiet as a shadow, save for his heavy breathing. Neither a nearby band of trick-or-treaters, nor a ranting and raving Dr. Loomis notice him lurking around.
I shot him 6 times. This guy, this man, he's not human.
Only a barking dog calls him out.
Harold, you want mayonnaise on your sandwich? Are you asleep again?
In search of a weapon, Michael enters the home of an elderly couple who are having what seems to be their typical evening of TV and dozing off. In a comically ominous shot, we see him in the background stealing her kitchen knife. The old lady is oblivious. There, that's the first 10 minutes. The other 80 minutes aren't bad either.
They should have handled it more carefully.
Who?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Jamie Lee Curtis reprises the role of Laurie Strode with the help of a pronounced wig.
Hey.
She's taken to Haddonfield Hospital,
Multiple contusions.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Fracture right ankle.
a place that's dimly lit and understaffed.
But we're going to have to put her out.
No. No, don't put me to sleep.
Okay, relax. Relax, they're not gonna hurt you.
Please don't put me to sleep.
While she's sedated against her will, Dr. Loomis is out on the streets hunting for Michael Myers.
Is that him? I don't know.
He mistakes a costumed teenager for the shape and draws his gun, resulting in an unlucky accident. To put it mildly.
Moments ago, police reported that Michael Myers, formerly of Haddonfield, who fled the Smiths Grove-Warren County Sanitarium last night, was believed to have burned to death.
A dentist examines the charred remains and confirms it's not him.
Everybody goes back out. I want a sweep from Chestnut south to the bypass. I want every street, every house, every backyard.
But everybody's all weirded out tonight. All this Michael Myers crap.
In the first movie, everything was in relation to Laurie. That's why when Laurie left the house and walked across the street, a woman stood up at the theater I went to see and went, "Don't go in there!" Because you've established he's there, she's here, she's going there. It's that simple, and in this movie we have the same setup.
Why me?
Michael follows Laurie to Haddonfield Hospital. He's on a mission to kill her. It proves to be no easy task. Along the way, he picks off each staff member one by one. The most gratuitous kill is the notorious hot tub scene.
Forget it, bud. I have to go back to work.
I think hers is the one character in Halloween history to engage in foreplay with the shape.
Now, bud, don't be that way.
Michael Myers is a shape. The least we see him, the more effective it is. Leave it to the imagination of the audience.
Rick Rosenthal wanted to emulate the first Halloween as much as possible.
3 teenagers have been found murdered in a house in the northwest section of Haddonfield.
Where did it happen?
Down on Orange Grove.
That's right down the street.
But the studio felt it would be more profitable if they upped the ante on the gore.
Here, just put it up there real gently. You okay? Let's go. Just walk real slow. Come on.
Happy Halloween.
So after the movie wrapped, John Carpenter was called in to shoot extra scenes of violence. This propelled Halloween 2 From a slasher movie to a splatter movie.
Get away from him! Will he stop breathing? No!
There's so much gore added to the final product that a character literally slips in a puddle of blood.
Wait, Laurie!
The last act of Halloween 2 kicks off with a classic kill. Becoming yet another tense cat and mouse chase between Laurie and the Shape. There's also a big revelation.
I have to talk to you.
That girl, that Strode girl, that's Michael Myers' sister.
Sister.
According to John Carpenter, this big twist was merely padding for the TV version of the original Halloween.
What was it you wanted to show me?
Thus, the mythology was born.
My brother killed my sister when she was 17.
A mythology that would continue until the 2018 version.
Wasn't it her brother who, like, cold-blooded mutilated all those teenagers?
No. That's just a bit that some people made up to make him feel better, I think.
Look, why don't you just shut up, all right?
In the thrilling climax, Laurie and Dr. Loomis battle the Shape head-on.
He's here.
10-4, unit calling, identify suspect.
Michael Myers, just get your ass over here.
This time she fires the gun. Michael Myers' bleeding eyes is yet another gory yet indelible image from this film. Dr. Loomis goes out with a bang.
It's time, Michael.
In a mesmerizing shot, Michael Myers walks down the hospital corridor, completely engulfed in flames. We know this is not the ultimate conclusion for the series, but it sure works well as an ending for Halloween 2. A lot of people have noted that Michael Myers looks different in the sequel. Well, that's because a different guy played him. Nick Castle didn't return. Instead, it was a stuntman named Dick Warlock. If you can believe it, it's the same exact modified William Shatner mask from the original Halloween.
Blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
The mask as it appeared in Halloween 2 still retained that special quality of Michael Myers' creepiness. This is notable because somehow most of the other installments got that one you'd think easy detail wrong. Specifically in entries 4 through 8, where you can find scarier masks at Party City.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Thanks for watching. This has been The Good, the Bad, the Underrated. I'm Alejandro. Fade out.
Shot him 6 times! This guy, he's not human!
Trick or treat, motherfucker! No! No! Why don't you just pat yourself on the back?
just like me.
Tommy, where is he? It worked. Power of the runes stopped him.
Michael? Why now? God damn you.
If it goes out, it means the death of millions of people, everyone watching. Don't you understand that? Well, say it's a bomb, then say whatever you want. Say whatever you like, just get it off the air.
Samhain. It means the Lord of the Dead. The end of summer. I'm sorry I left you. Are you all right?
Why won't he die? All right, you meatheads, joke's over.
Mr. Summer, bring me a dream. Bum, 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 bum. Make him the cutest that I